Hi everyone, I hope you're well today. Okay, we're going to be in this book again, which is The Living Wisdom of Trees. Have you ever wondered why are yew trees found in graveyards? Now, this is outstandingly interesting, this section on yew trees. So basically, what he says in here is that the worship of the yew tree in the Western culture goes all the way back to the Stone Age. And he even says the Viking or Norse, more particularly, a tree of life, we all know Yggdrasil, the big tree of life, is most likely a yew tree. It's misinterpreted as an ash tree, but most likely it's a needle producing ash tree, meaning the yew tree. And yew actually means tree of God. It represents both life and death. So the idea is that it's not a tree of death, but it's a tree that represents that transition between life and death. And for that reason, sometimes it's celebrated around the winter solstice or sometimes in November. So the idea of when the darkness of the world is merging or coming out back into light. So the idea around this winter solstice, they are actually, the yew tree is celebrated because we're moving from death to life or life to death in there. So also it's the name for Iberian. The Iberian print is based off the yew tree name. And even in Japan, the word yew tree allegedly means tree of God, and that Odin, the god, hung himself from the yew tree. Now again, this depends on if you come to the same conclusion as this gentleman, that the yew tree is actually Yggdrasil, the world tree. But it definitely is found in sacred spaces. So these sacred spaces go all the way back to the Stone Age, and some of them were then taken over by Christianity. So when you go to a graveyard and you see big yew trees being, are in the graveyard, think that this is a tradition from the Western perspective that goes back thousands of years to when the yew tree was actually celebrated as a sacred tree. Now, one of the reasons it's probably celebrated as a sacred tree is apparently it's called the metal tree or metal post because they outdoes metal posts. So if you get posts made from yew wood, you can actually put them next to metal fence posts and the metal will rot away before the yew tree does. Some of the oldest buildings that have survived have been based on yew trees, and the oldest spears ever to exist are based on yew trees. So this wood is extremely hard and extremely durable, and if you can get your hands on yew timber, then you're doing well in your building construction. So there you go. So what does this mean for you guys? You guys. Right, so who? You? Me? No, you. Yeah, it's an old tree joke. Right, so, and of course we know that some bows were made from yew trees. Now, what does this mean? It means basically get your head around what a yew tree looks like. Understand that in ancient times it was a durable material, and that if you used it you would have absolutely no qualms about it outlasting you and being passed on down the generations, but also that it's probably a symbol of the divide between life and death. So we find it in graveyards and sacred spaces. So have a look in your local graveyard, see if you can find some yew trees, and of course they're not as old as that. The yew trees are obviously been replanted, but that means there's a tradition of planting yew trees in burial grounds which has gone on undisturbed or uninterrupted for thousands of years in Western culture. How about that? There you go, guys. Get yourself a copy of that book, The Living Wisdom of Trees, and enjoy.